So now that we officially know what stealth is, or rather I suppose what it isn't, we can start to really put into context some of the early Outsiders cards we've seen thus far. Of special interest to me is the Bloodrot Pox token and the cards that generate it. My early take is that this archetype has the potential to be very, very strong in the Blitz format. A huge shout out to our channel members for supporting what we do here. If you want to get involved with the channel and the Dice Commando community, please consider joining as a channel member. Remember, these videos are only possible with your support. You can show that support with a like, a subscribe, and by leaving us a comment and sharing your feedback. Community first, and go Commando. Hey there, Flesh and Blood folks, and welcome back to Go Again, a fabulous cast here on Dice Commando, and happy Mardi Gras! Happy Mardi Gras to you, to your family. Party fun and party safe, my friends. So, Stealth was revealed earlier last week, and I think it's safe to say that with all the speculation out there, turns out pretty much everybody was wrong. So, Stealth is an ability keyword unlike any other. Stealth alone means nothing. It has no specific rules meaning. It does not resolve, it does not trigger, and it does not change the game state through effects. Cards simply have the stealth keyword, or they don't. So the easiest way to think about stealth is effectively as a card trait, right? That's not a technical term, but effectively as a trait on the card, right? Where it's really just referenced by other cards to provide synergies and stuff like that. Another very interesting part from this announcement, as you can see kind of on the top right there on your screen, is it specifically says assassin heroes who use cards with stealth, which very much implies, if not outright says, that this will be an assassin-only keyword, which I think is very, very interesting because first, obviously, this is not what we expected, right? Without a Pit's talent, so to speak, I think the assumption many of us had was that stealth would kind of effectively serve that role in some way. And second is that generally in horizontal design games like Fab, when you see something drop that's limited to one hero or one archetype, that's often because it's potentially very strong, might break a mathematical rule, hence why they want it to stay contained, right, by limiting the interaction pool, right? Keep it assassin only so you can design only assassin cards, and so on and so on and so on. So to put this in perspective, let's check out two of the new cards that we've seen from the upcoming set, Infect and Spike with Bloodrot. Infect is a 0-drop attack with stealth that when it hits a hero, create a Bloodrot Pox token under their control. Spike with Bloodrot is an assassin attack reaction, yet another attack react for assassins, that target card with stealth gains +3 for the red, and when it hits a hero, create a Bloodrot Pox token under their control. The Bloodrot Pox token itself says at the beginning of your end phase, destroy Bloodrot Pox and it deals 2 damage to you unless you play 3 resources. And again, remember, we're putting this in play under our opponent's control, so it's essentially using it offensively. And what we have here is actually pretty interesting to me because from a certain perspective, it's kind of like a control, right? Not in the truest sense of control, of course, in gaming, but you can hopefully see where I'm going here. Because for most decks, having 3 resources at the end of their turn is a pretty big deal. Oh yeah, remember that time I was able to pull off my combo and then I still had a blue card left over to Arsenal? Said basically no one ever, except for maybe Guardians. 3 resources is a big deal for some decks, and actually for other decks, it's impossible. Sure, it's only 1 card, but that blue is an important one, right? It's your resource cards. So most times, realistically, it's going to be a decision between doing your turn or not. And what are you going to do? Sit back and get attack, react, pinged to death while you don't respond? I don't think that's going to be successful, right? So more often than not, for most decks, you're going to end up, most likely, taking that damage. And that's why in Blitz, I think it's potentially a pretty big deal. It's not just that 2 damage is 1/10 of your health. That's certainly true, but it's not just that. Because remember, in order to generate the token, they have to land the damage. An assassin who seems to be all about those attack reacts, that means you're never safe. It's a pretty scary prospect. Attack reacts that generate damage and attack reacts that make your cards defend for less. You're never safe. So when their card hits, not only do you take the damage, but then you take more, assuming that on your turn you actually want to do what you want to do. And I think that's pretty strong, right? So let's go ahead and just say beginning the game, right? Let's say they land 3. Now you're at 17 with 2 on the back end. So what do? Not do your plan? I think you do, but then you just pumps that damage in. Now, granted, you get to go first, right? It's kind of in a certain way like the Icelander perspective, except in this case, they can't blow you up before you finish doing what you're doing, right? It comes at the end of your turn. So if you are able to kill them, don't have to worry about it. So you better kill them off because, you know, don't worry, Assassin doesn't defend well or anything. And that's a joke because Assassin actually defends quite well. Now, in CC, I grant that I don't think this is as big of a deal, right? The 2 damage versus using your blue to fuel your turn to pump more damage and pull your combo, it's a long game, not a problem. But in Blitz, because you're forced at a much faster point in the game to play defensively, usually around, 6 or 7 health or so, all of a sudden you're overblocking and paying off the poison. But because a lot of this is attack react generated, or I should say fueled, maybe not generated, but a lot of this attack react fueled, and again, there's no shortage of attack reacts, I think it's going to be very hard to stop a lot of this from happening. Because remember, it's not like a crush effect, it's an on-hit effect. They only have to land 1 to make you worry about the 2 or paying 3. So again, a lot of stuff to come, but I am very impressed so far with what I think this might be able to do. So let me know if you agree, if you disagree. I know a lot of us are getting very excited about Outsiders. Let me know if you're planning on playing the Assassins now that we've seen this, or if you think it's going to be garbage. Let me know in the comments. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Happy Mardi Gras, and go Commando.